Hey there, beloveds. It's Teresa again, and I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight. I had gotten an email from someone who was just happened to be on my website, and they decided to ask a question, and they indicated that they were struggling in their finances and they didn't know why. They just had no idea why. They had money, they just, for whatever reason, get to they couldn't pay their bills on time. They were struggling with bad credit. I mean, she started listing and listing. It was like almost like a stream of consciousness email. And she wanted to know what to do. And I assured her that we can certainly help her go with the steps to go through her current issues and find out, what her blockages were. But as a way to start the process off, I told her to get a pen and a paper and to write down when her first recollection was that money as a tool first entered her life. Because we all have that first time that we were aware of money, whether it was the talk about allowances or whether it was talking about going on a trip, a class trip, or a trip with our relatives. We had a first time that money was really brought up to us, and we have to write down how you felt about that. Now, generally, money issues stem from a trauma. It stems from some kind of a trauma that you have at a young age that changed the way that you identify with money. So I know that there are a lot of kids who go on school trips, on class trips, go on vacations with their families, and I know that there are some sections of the family that are more well off than others. My son has a family like this where on his father's side, his grandmother is probably, has kind of the money in the family. And so there's some other relatives that don't have as much. And so she acts as that person who's in the middle for them. So she helps them pay for trips and she helps them do this and helps them do that. And as a consequence, she has a lot of power. But we're going to go over the issue of money and power in another podcast. This is about kind of understanding where that switch hit when it came to money having an impact in your life. Now, you may have wanted to go on a trip, a school trip, and you went to your parents and they said yes. And then when the trip got closer, they realized that they did not have the money for it. And so they had to tell you no. And the disappointment sat with you. You may have wanted to go on a vacation. Maybe your cousins or, your close friends were going to Disney with their family and invited you and your family, and for whatever reason your family didn't have the finances to go. You wanted some new shoes or some new sneakers that hit the market, and everybody else had them and you wanted them, but your family couldn't swing it, or you felt they could swing it but they just didn't want to give it to you for whatever reason. Usually kids feel that way, but it's that the parents just don't have the money, and because we don't include our children in our finances, they see you buying other stuff. They see you buying food, because at this point they don't care what it is as long as it ain't what they wanted. They see you buying food. They see you maybe buying, toiletries. They see you coming in with a bag of something that ain't their sneakers. So now these kids are very upset and they are resentful, and that sticks with them. It's that idea of lack that sits in their spirit, and when they're older they try to compensate for it. So what I want for everyone to do if they're struggling with money is to try to recount when money became an issue in their life. I want you to tell me about your budget, not your budget, tell me about your allowance. When you got allowance, was it tied to chores, or did you get your allowance regardless of whether you did chores or not? Was it held against you? If you didn't do chores, did you not get an allowance? So we want to understand that so that we can start to unpack these issues and deal with them, so that you're not constantly trying to soothe the child that you were, and that you can now walk in your adulthood and take care of the responsibilities that you have now, instead of acting out that trauma that you had as a child. So this is what I wanted to kind of share with you all, because there are a lot of times that people will write me or they'll talk to me. Usually I'll talk to a group of people, and then one or two people will pull me to the side because everyone feels like their situation is really unique and that nobody else understands that this is so terrible, and they're such terrible people because they have this bad financial thing happen to them, but they don't realize that they're not. And that's for every one person who comes to me with an issue, there are hundreds of people who have that same issue. So I will, take the names away, and I will put it out there to the general public so that you all can understand that you are not alone, that you are not the only person who is suffering from issues in their financials and in their financial well-being. And that this is why group financial counseling is so great, because we all get a chance to bounce off of each other. So if there's a group in your neighborhood, or if your favorite provider has a group, then it would be great to join, because usually group classes may be a little cheaper than one-on-one individuals, and then you get the collective knowledge of the group. You get that we're all in this together feeling, and you get the experience, because everyone doesn't have the exact same problem. So there are people who are great with one part and terrible with another. So we can all bounce ideas off of each other, and that's how we all help each other, because that is what our mission is in life. We are called one to another, and the strong will always have to bear the infirmities of the weak. Yes. All right. So I want everyone to enjoy their day, stay safe, stay protected, and I really hope that I've served you well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.